camera was never supposed to be on. Yet in the dim silence of the studio, a small red light flickered like a heartbeat refusing to die. The crew had gone. The lights were out. Only two figures remained, Woochan, breath-heavy, and Youngseo, still wearing the silk eye mask that had made the world lose its mind hours ago. The sound of her breathing filled the empty room, fragile and haunting. A single question hung in the air like smoke. What did he say to her when the cameras stopped rolling? The answer, buried in those 4 seconds of unseen footage, would soon set the entire internet on fire. He stood close, too close, his voice low enough to make the silence tremble. "You shouldn't look at me that way," he whispered. She didn't move. Her fingers tightened around the mask, as if it were the only thing keeping her from falling. "What way?" she asked, her voice breaking the stillness. His smile came faintly, sad and real. "Like you already know the ending." Her eyes met his, soft, dangerous, and unguarded. "And what if I do?" she murmured. Woochan's hand rose, hovering near her face but never touching. His breath brushed her ear, and the camera caught every heartbeat between them. That was the whisper, the one that no one was supposed to hear. Days later, the clip surfaced online like a ghost resurrected. Grainy, cropped, but unmistakably them. Fans froze it frame by frame, zoomed in, replayed, enhanced. What did he say? Some swore he whispered stay. Others believed he said mine. But one fan, a professional lip reader, decoded it differently. "If this were real, would you still choose me?" And just like that, the internet caught fire. Within hours, #Woochan Whisper trended across every platform. Back then, in that studio, they had no idea. No idea that their secret moment was still being recorded, that their whispered truth would become everyone's obsession. The Eyes Mask Challenge had been meant as harmless fun, a game of stares, a viral marketing spark. But the second their eyes met through that silk veil, something in the air shifted. The room fell quiet. Even the sound engineer had paused. It wasn't acting anymore, it was confession disguised as play. "You looked at me like you meant it," Youngseo had said when the cameras stopped. "Like it wasn't just a game." Woochan didn't deny it. "Maybe that's the problem," he whispered, lips trembling. "I didn't act." And in that instant, their silence became a language only they understood. When the video leaked, chaos erupted. Agencies panicked. "Take it down immediately. Find who uploaded this. Do you know how many views this has?" By dawn, it had crossed 25 million. Every fan wanted to know what really happened when the lights went out. The whisper became legend. Theories multiplied. One fan claimed she heard him say, "Don't forget me." Another claimed he said, "You already did." No one knew. But everyone felt it. Woochan vanished for a week. He ignored calls, messages, and headlines. Alone in his car, he rewatched the clip in silence. The look in her eyes, the shake in his voice, the tremor of what could never be undone. It wasn't supposed to mean anything, but it meant everything. On social media, people begged for his response. He gave none. Youngseo faced the world instead. During a press interview, a reporter asked the question everyone feared, "Did Woochan really whisper, 'If this were real, would you still choose me?'" She froze for 5 seconds that felt like forever, then smiled faintly and said, "I don't remember." A perfect lie wrapped in elegance. But her eyes told another story. That night, her phone buzzed. Woochan's name appeared. His message was short. "I shouldn't have said it. But I meant it." Her fingers trembled as she typed back. "Then why whisper it if you wanted to hide?" His reply came seconds later. "Because I didn't want the world to hear it, only you." Another clip leaked 2 days later. Blurry but real. Woochan and Youngseo outside the studio that same night, laughing softly beneath flickering streetlights. No words, just the way he looked at her, like the rest of the world didn't exist. Fans went wild again. #Eyes Don't Lie trended globally. Every frame of their gaze was dissected, worshipped, analyzed. Agencies tried to stop it. "Just colleagues," they said. "Nothing personal." But the more they denied, the more people believed. Behind the spotlight, Woochan rehearsed for a charity concert, his heart restless. When he finally stepped on stage, the crowd screamed his name. He held the mic, eyes heavy but bright. "Sometimes silence says what words can't," he said quietly. The entire hall went still. No one dared breathe. It wasn't a performance anymore, it was an answer. Somewhere backstage, Youngseo watched through the curtain, tears catching the light. His voice echoed in her head. "If this were real, would you still choose me?" She smiled faintly, whispering back to no one but the air. "I already did." The unseen footage that started everything was never deleted. It lived quietly in her phone, tucked in a private folder labeled Challenge Night. Whenever the noise of fame grew too loud, she'd play it again, the whisper, the silence, the heartbeat between them. The world saw it as a scandal. But to her, it was the one moment that wasn't fake. And though neither ever confirmed nor denied the rumor, everyone knew. The whisper was real. The connection was undeniable. The camera might have been forgotten, but destiny wasn't. It caught them at their most unguarded, their most human, two souls pretending not to love under the bright lights, yet caught confessing in the dark. In the end, the unseen footage became more than a clip, it became a memory that refused to fade. A single whispered question turned into a love story the world couldn't stop replaying. And somewhere out there, beneath the hum of city lights, Woochan and Youngseo carried the secret that began with a mask, and ended with everything revealed. The world thought they'd seen everything, but they hadn't. The viral clip that burned across the internet was only 4 seconds long. 4 seconds of raw silence, heavy breathing, and a whisper that made millions gasp. Yet what no one knew was that the camera didn't stop there. There was more. A continuation, hidden deep within the studio's security files, never meant for public eyes. That's where the real story began. The footage started with the faint hum of the studio lights and the soft shuffle of Youngseo's shoes. Her mask was still in her hand, crushed slightly where her fingers had clung to it during that last electric moment. Woochan stood across from her, still, quiet, but his eyes said everything words couldn't. You could feel the current between them, that invisible pull that had nothing to do with acting anymore. "You left it on," she said suddenly, nodding toward the camera in the corner. Woochan turned, realizing the small red light was still glowing. "They always forget that one," he murmured. "It doesn't send live." But it did. That same forgotten lens was quietly uploading its data to a cloud drive, where, weeks later, someone would find it. Youngseo stepped closer, the distance between them shrinking until her reflection trembled in his pupils. "What did you mean when you said that?" she asked softly. He exhaled, slow, careful, as though his breath might break the fragile spell between them. "If I tell you, I can't take it back. Maybe I don't want you to." He smiled then, small, broken, but sincere. "Then don't forget this," he whispered. That was the moment, the one the leaked clip had cut off too early. He leaned in, just enough for his breath to graze her ear. Every nerve in her body seemed to freeze, caught between fear and longing. "I meant every word," he said. "Every look. Every second. I wasn't acting, Youngseo. Not once." And then there was silence. Beautiful, unbearable silence. She looked up, eyes shining under the low light. "You can't say things like that," she said, her voice trembling. "Not when the world's watching." He shook his head. "The world isn't watching now." But it was. The red light blinked again, a silent witness to a truth they didn't know was being recorded. For a moment, she didn't answer. Then she reached up and placed the silk mask back between them, holding it like a fragile boundary. "Then promise me," she whispered. "When this ends, you'll pretend it never happened." Woochan's jaw tightened. His eyes darkened, full of something that looked like heartbreak. "I can't promise that." The tension snapped like glass. She dropped the mask. It fell soundlessly to the floor. And then came the part fans would never see, his hand reaching out, brushing against her hair, his voice soft but certain. "You'll remember this night," he said. "Even when you try not to." That was where the real footage ended. The rest, the whispers, the trembling, the silence, lived only in memory. Weeks later, the leaked clip spread like wildfire again, this time longer, uncut. You could hear faint sounds now, the breath, the shift of her feet, the catch in her throat. It was more intimate, more real, more impossible to deny. Social media melted down. Was that a confession? Are they together? Did he say he loves her? One fan slowed the footage to 1/8 speed and swore you could hear 3 words between the pauses. I choose you. Another claimed the background microphone picked up a reply, too faint for casual listeners. Then prove it. Suddenly, the mystery became a movement. Millions demanded answers. Some called it romantic. Others said it was dangerous. But everyone agreed, it didn't look like acting. Meanwhile, Woochan and Youngseo disappeared again. No public appearances. No interviews. Just silence. Until one night, 3 months later, a fan captured a blurry photo of them together at a small cafe in Busan. No entourage, no managers, no makeup. Just them. She was laughing, and he was watching her like he'd finally stopped pretending. The image trended instantly, but what caught fans' attention most wasn't the way they smiled. It was the familiar white silk mask resting on the table between them. People said it was fate. Others said it was foolish. But for Woochan and Youngseo, it was unfinished business. Because what started as a viral challenge had turned into something neither of them could erase. The mask that once hid their expressions had now become the symbol of the truth they tried to hide. Every time she saw it, she heard his whisper again, "If this were real, would you still choose me?" And every time, the answer was the same. She already had. One evening, Woochan posted something on his private account, a short video of the night sky. No caption, just the sound of ocean waves and a faint whisper at the end. Some secrets are meant to be seen. Fans caught it within minutes, replayed it thousands of times, and realized the background matched the cafe's location. The timing. The sound. The same night as the photo. People began to believe the unseen footage wasn't just a leak, it was fate making itself known. Back in Seoul, reporters tried to corner Youngseo at an event. One asked directly, "Do you regret that whisper?" She paused, looked up at the flashing cameras, and smiled that soft, knowing smile that had always driven fans wild. "No," she said. "Some words deserve to be heard, even if they weren't meant to be." And in that instant, Woochan, watching from a nearby monitor backstage, smiled too. Because for the first time, the world didn't need to guess. The whisper had become a promise, one that no camera could ever undo. That night, when she got home, a package waited by her door. Inside was the white silk mask, neatly folded, and a note in his handwriting, "I never stopped choosing you." She pressed it to her heart, her eyes filling. Somewhere in the distance, a camera blinked off for good. No more leaks. No more hidden recordings. Just 2 souls who had been caught in a game, and ended up falling in love before the world's eyes. The unseen footage wasn't just about what he whispered. It was about everything after. The silence that became music. The lie that became truth. The moment that became forever. And though fans will always replay the clip searching for answers, the truth will never need subtitles. It lived in their eyes, their breath, their unspoken words. The whisper that began with a mask had finally found its echo in reality.